Have you ever wondered how people can remember every single story in their life and then they're able to share it in their medical school interview, or their residency or interview, or just share it with friends? Well, I created a way to capture all my memories, all the important memories, onto the app called Notion so that I have a database to pull stories from for when I do my residency interviews, and also just to reflect on the different patient encounters that I've had. So let's dive in. So here on my screen, you can see my command center. On a good day, when I am following my daily routine, I have this daily tracking, or what I call morning pages. And then I click here on the date, I type it in, I can track my diet, sleep, and if I do devotionals, encourage or pray, all that. This hasn't been completed, I just opened it for this video. And then this is where you select everything. And this is my morning journaling, some questions. And then my end of day wind down evening journaling. And at the very bottom, once I do my wind down, I want to reflect on a story of the day, on a case, and I click here and create a new story. Now, when I do, so I'll do that just so you can see. When I open it, it's gonna give me the template that I created, and these are questions I created. What is your feeling about this story? What's one moment from today that stood out? What was the lesson? How can you improve? And what's the next action step you can take? I don't have to answer all those. You don't have to. Those are just to prompt me to write something down. This is the database that I have of stories all the way dating back to August of last year in 2021. I was not really consistent during the entire year, because I just didn't have time, or I was burnt out at some points. But when I did have a patient interaction that I was like, you know what, this is really worth holding on to for reflection, or I can make a YouTube video out of it, or I knew that this would be valuable for my CARMS interview in the future, I would write it down. So here I have the date, I have the title, and then what's it useful for? So here, it's either just good to remember, where I learned something. It's good for YouTube, where I can make an Instagram post. Maybe it's just a life lesson that I want to reflect on in the future. Maybe it's for ePortfolio. It's something we have to do for school. And then CARMS interview. So I tag a meaning and a purpose for each post. And all these have some kind of story. So let's see what I have here. Grief of a patient. Septic patient, praying for a patient. So this one, we're here. Patient frustrated with cancer and wanted to die. So this I tagged for remembering, life lesson, ePortfolio, and CARMS interview. So there's multiple things. So if I open it up, here's the story, and it tells me what happened during that day. I was in the OBS unit at the General Hospital, and this patient had a carcinoma of their esophagus, and throughout the whole process, or the history, he ended up sharing that he actually just wanted to end his life, and he wanted to undergo MAID. And I just thought that was very interesting, caught me off guard. I wanted to reflect on that. I wanted to reflect on this in the future for an interview, and just not just let this moment go to waste. Because this is a person reflecting on their life, and they're suffering so much that they just don't want to go on. And so I want to use that in the future to grow personally as a future physician, so I can help patients in the future. Another one was, let's see here, this one's just EM. So emerged September 25th, UC. So this is urgent care. I was leaving to go home, encountered a patient who left urgent care and they didn't know which way to go, so I walked to the elevator with them. Oh, and the patient was bleeding. So the patient's hand was bleeding, and it was just, I wanted to record that this was a nice gesture for the patient. And then also I saw an atypical presentation for a diverticulitis. Not anything too crazy, but if one day during my CARMS interview somebody asks, you know, what's an example of when you went out of your way to help somebody, I could reflect on this and share. It's very simple, but you know, I didn't even know this guy, and I just ran all the way back to the Emerge and got him some new gauze, cleaned his hand up. Story, what's this? Nothing. Oh, I just created that. Okay. Life can be unfair. This is actually very interesting, something that is important to wrestle with at times and made the doctor I was working with cry. This patient that we saw, he had jaundice, severe jaundice, super yellow skin, and was accepted for a liver transplant, and he would get it. Now, the doctor I worked with, she shared that there have been mothers that she's seen that needed a liver transplant, not because they were alcoholics, but just it happened and they couldn't get it. And so here's an example: a 29-year-old mother with a 6-month-old, she died. A 56-year-old mother with 2 kids, she died, and they never got liver transplant. And so she was just reminiscing and reflecting that sometimes life is unfair. How can somebody who drank their entire life, who did not take care of their body, get a liver transplant, can live, compared to mothers who didn't do any of that, died and left kids behind? And so these are heavy issues that I would not remember the story had I not written it down. And I wish I did this every single day, because of how valuable each of these stories, each of these patients are. One, just valuable in it of themselves, valuable to me to reflect and grow as somebody, as a doctor. All right, one last story here. It's AFib, June 7th. So I was doing my internal medicine, and I wrote down, I was able to listen to someone's heart that was irregularly irregular. That was the first time. This patient is 57, had 6 mini strokes, multiple AFib exacerbations. Very sad. He looks like he's in his 70s, but he's 57. And then I wrote down, it's really important to take care of our bodies. And so this is me reflecting, one, on an achievement. Hey, I can pick out irregular heart rates. I'm learning. I feel better. It builds my confidence when I can reflect on stories like this and see my growth. And then it also teaches me how important it is to take care of our bodies, because you don't want to really look older than your age, and you definitely don't want 6 mini strokes at the age of 57. And so these reminders are very important throughout our life as we reflect to become better people and help others in the future. Okay, so this is very quick, very simple. If you want me to share a template, a clean template, I can do that. Maybe I'll link it in the description, drop it in the comments. I think I will. For those of you that want to do Notion or do Notion, I'm going to share a clean template in the description or even in the comment section. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, hit that notification bell. And what kind of topics do you want me to share in future videos, okay? Don't forget to follow me on Instagram. Love you. Take care. Peace.